when you were 15 and you have to get 18-year-olds to bootleg your vodka and Palm Bays because you didn't know how to drink yet? Me too, except I grew up with ADHD and I always had to take things a little too far. So I got a girl from work to bootleg me a ferret from the pet store. Evidently, minors cannot obtain them on their own. As an adult, super happy to hear that man save the ferrets. Because at 15, I'm pretty sure that the only facts that I looked up before I got one is about the size and shape as a zucchini. Like I love zucchini. A male neutered ferret is called a gib, and that's just so much fun to say. When they feel threatened, they dance. And a group of ferrets is called a business. Sold. Smells like a good investment for a child making $9.15 an hour at McDonald's. Wasn't quite cutting it, so it's time to go under the table. I hadn't also tried a weed yet, so my brain didn't make that connection. But man, weasel fraudulence, I'm fucking there. Unfortunately, in 2009, the black market polecat game was not booming. It was not a boomer. And that's where I traced back my financial downfall. Because I'm pretty sure it was only like 2 days until my mom heard weird noises coming from my bedroom and then sold them on Kijiji for about like 90% less than market value. Accoutrement included. I never recovered. Unauthorized Wolverine-related mammal smuggling is just not worth it, y'all. Trust a professional. I don't like to say that I had a pet ferret because it kind of feels like a lie. I usually just tell people that I obtained a ferret for a very short duration of time, and I don't feel like I've lied. There's a very fine line between criminal and pet owner, but I don't like labels. I'm always labeled against my will. Sex addict, unhinged, millennial. And yeah, I get it. I am a millennial, but nobody ever tries to look any deeper without a warrant. Being born in 1995 makes me kind of like a weird defect of both column A and column B. Millennial adjacent, one that's put absolutely zero thought into this at all, could say. I am homeostasis and nobody even cares about my feelings. Presumptuous pears. Yeah, I do Spotify and Instagram, but I've also had LimeWire and Neopets accounts. I don't know how to power on an Xbox One, but I do fully support vaccinations and gay marriage. I'm very fluent in Pokemon, but only the original 151. Indigo League is where I indigo plateaued. I do, in fact, like a good avocado toast for brunch. And I have also pulled many PC Candyland games out of cereal boxes in my day. I was around when YouTube didn't have ads, but there weren't videos to teach me how to not be ugly. There was just Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide at 6 p.m. on the Family Channel. I was hideous. 6 p.m. also being the time that all of my calls and each individual text were free. I could only afford 150 texts per month. And it was on the T9 flip phone that I bought myself in grade 9. Side note, if you type my phone number into the T9, it comes up as Stab Scott. And I have not befriended a single Scott in my whole life, just in case it's a prophecy. I've sent an "I like you, oh sorry, that was my friend" message on MSN Messenger from a home-based Macintosh computer. Sometimes I turn down for what? Sometimes I turn down for plenty. I like Dean Martin and Eminem. See, millennial adjacent. If you don't get it still, that's cool. I'll put it into Sims terminology, just for the elderly consumer. Got Sims 1, simple, classic, really shitty quality. Sims 2, twisted, cool, kind of less shitty quality. I'm gonna cap it at Sims 3 because that's as high as I've played. But Sims 3 was a huge upgrade from 1 and 2. They euthanized the shit out of the old ones. You could finally customize the clothes, the hair, the cars, kind of all around aesthetics. The houses, classier. The babies, less fugly. So all of us double deluxers get overlooked because of all the pretty and the pixel quality. And don't get me wrong, I like to feel pretty and pixely qualified as well. But if you knew the right kind of dark cheats, bull prop testing cheats enabled true, Sims 2 was a whole different wild world. You couldn't customize Mama Robinson's blouse to be cheetah print, but You could turn your paperboy into a vampire and watch each morning as the game forces him to deliver, regardless of all the perishing and the sizzling from the sun. Whoever programmed that game had a crazy intense work ethic. Like, little Timmy's determination to provide for his family will be untamperable, soul or no soul. Or pro tip, if you're the type of person that makes your Sims earn an honest education and living, you can cut some expenses by claiming the free will of some jogging past neighborhood Sims. Get them to do your housework and your lawn work pro bono before releasing them back into society. And if they're being difficult, you can kill them in various dark ways, like rapid old age, death by flies, accidentally crushed by a satellite on the front lawn when stargazing. And then the Grim Reaper comes and you play a little rock, paper, scissors, see who gets the soul. If you win, rinse, gamble, repeat. If he wins, he takes the soul and you get a tombstone on your lawn that is very difficult to turn into an error and delete. And even if you do figure it out, you have to deal with the deceased Sims' loved ones constantly on your front step, shaking their fists and crying like an inconvenience. That is until the guard vampire bites them and they can no longer grieve or protest in the sunlight. Sims 2 wasn't urban enough for long-term full-time, but if you got to know its bugs and secrets, it's so heckin' cool on its own. Sims 3 doesn't have those cheats. I checked. No one cares about sadism anymore, I guess. Do you get the self-tug-of-war now? I've dipped my toes and sinked in both pools. Why, yes. My idiot teen years were indeed captured on cell phones, but the proof being in the junk drawer next to the pudding on LG razors and BlackBerry curves. Or if your parents didn't pay for it, the Kibo! No one's got those bitchin' pixel quality photos on the go. It was the foreplay of technology, but a hot commodity at the time. I found an LG razor in the junior high bathroom once, but I was like, not like this, and gave it to the office. Oh, but hey, before we stray too far from spectrums and fine lines, have you ever had to stop and ask yourself, am I really creative, or am I a psychopath? It sounds so nice in my head, but then on paper it appears that I could have gone in a very different direction in life. I don't think my parents wrote down shit. Or maybe they did and they're also psychopaths, but there's no way to tell because we don't speak. So let's get a third-party opinion, shall we? After a 3-year-old Samantha gets her broken arm casted, she decides she doesn't like her egg. So she rips it off and gives it to her mom. Could she not feel the pain? Did she enjoy it? 2 more casts later, the hospital casts all the way up to her elbow just to make sure. Early emotional control or future murderer? Later that year, a hook and eye latch was installed at the top of the front door to prevent Samantha from escaping to go watch construction alone on the front lawn. But when faced with said roadblock, she found a nearby broomstick, jimmied it unlocked, and went and proceeded. Toddler Danny Ocean or threat to society? Disneyland, 1999. A very much in character Cruella de Vil is scribbling in kids' autograph books and tossing them on the street after. Samantha approaches and says it's sure too bad you didn't get to keep any of those puppies. And Cruella says, well, finally, someone that sees things from my perspective. Signs book with at least like 6 hearts. Starts walking off with her new little sidekick. Little sidekick turns around and coos at her sister and all the other chumps looking for their books on the road. Light dinner conversation or manipulative red flag? A parent's work barbecue. A man running around chasing little girls with a cooked severed pig's head. Not a scream did he receive from Lil DeVille, but a $20 wager to rip out the tongue and indulge. Entrepreneur Jeffrey Dahmer. The fuck do you even say to your daughter after you find stitched back together bananas in the fruit bowl? Or when you find her body cavity in the deep freeze that's filled with things like yarn for veins or a mandarin orange for the liver and she operates on it? What do you say? Sorry for your genetics? Sorry I didn't write anything down and commit you? You can't blame the dark-minded offspring for being dark-minded when you created it. We gotta start taking ownership for our actions, man. Diverting blame is what got us into this cycle. We single-handedly created these fuckboys that we love to bitch about so much. They can only jump in and out of your life as much as you let them. They already said that they don't like you, so why are you trying to change everything about yourself? You gotta concrete the shit out of that decision. Aim to displease to keep them to keep their distance until you get into your next relationship. See, if it were me, I'd say, look, it's your prerogative if you don't want to date me because of my overbite. But it's very important to me that you know that I've also had to shave my toe since I was a child. I love picking my nose, love popping other people's pimples. I'm pretty sure that my face isn't fully symmetrical. Kind of makes me look rather unpleasing to the eye in candid photos. Whew! That's gotta buy me at least a year, right? Just downsell, downsell, downsell! Less jail time than burning his mom's house down. You don't have to play a stupid hand game with G Reaps. It's called self-love, okay? What's the line? Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Why, yes! Called a give, and that's just so much fun to say. Oh shit. Or if your parents didn't pay for it, the chemo! Fuck.